Folk waffle in the morning, folk waffle in the night. I like folk waffle cause it makes me feel alright. Sing it now. Folk waffle in the morning, folk waffle in the night. I like folk waffle cause it makes me feel alright.
Hello, and you're very welcome to the first episode of the Folk Waffle with Barry Kieran, Dylan Pearce and myself, Brendan McCrainer. And the first topic we're going to talk about is firsts. Can you tell me, Barry, what was the first tune you learned?
It was probably Fáinne Galan Lé, the dawning of the day, March.
Lovely.
Learned that with Rose O'Connor when I was probably 9 or 10 years of age, yeah.
So your first tune
I still
was
have
on
that
the
old
fiddle?
music book here. Rose O'Connor used to write out the tunes.
Wow.
As well, so I have all those tunes, which is a great little bit of history.
Did you play the whistle as well, Barry, or was it just the fiddle you started on?
I tried, yeah. It was recommended that I start on the whistle. No,
You're not getting the fiddle until you can play 10 tunes.
No, I was just happy to apply all my motor skills to the fiddle, to be honest with you.
Pierce, what's the first tune or song that you learned?
First song I learned.
Yeah.
So I suppose the first song or songs that we would have learned were in primary school. And we didn't do no easy stuff, like row your boat.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
One of the first songs we learned was Down by the Glenside.
Lovely.
Do you know it?
I think I do, but I'm not going to sing it.
Why not?
Because you know it.
So give us a few bars there, Pierce.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I'll give you a bit of background first, because the school where we went, they had the primary school had great teachers, but they were all ferociously nationalist. So we were learning stuff like Down by the Glenside and Skibbereen, and like Skibbereen, Jesus. That,
for kids,
that's a really big song, and we were 7 or 8, and we were going home with this, and the parents thought you were great. he's learning Skibbereen. So no, the first one we learned was Down by the Glenside, and it was taught to me by a man called Frank Short. And you probably know what it goes. Ah, down by the glenside, I met an old woman, a plucking young nettles. She near saw me coming. I listened a while to the song she was humming. Glory-o, glory-o to the bold Fenian man. So that, you were going home with that, and the parents just thought you were, like a gift. Because I suppose, well, at the time we were learning these, things were sort of pretty bad in the north. Like, it was the height of the troubles. So you were going back with these, and there was a lot of it going around. A lot of real sort of that nationalist fervour, I suppose. But so it was Down by the Glenside. Now, lovely. After a while, the first song I learned on to sing and play guitar with was Blueberry Hill by Fats Domino.
No way.
Yeah, but it was just like basic chords. It was like, strum, I found my strum thrills, strum on Blueberry Hill, strum. Yeah, so that was kind of the. We should probably I should revisit that, and we should maybe do a cover, because it's a beautiful
I remember
song.
that for stage as well. Brendan, we'll remember that for stage for Pierce. Strum!
What did he say?
Oh, God. So, yeah, there's I think a couple of firsts What about you, Brendan? What was the first tune you learned?
First tune I learned was Oroshi de Bahawalya.
Mm.
And a nice little connection with yourself being involved in the Armagh Pipers Club. It was they had a range of books that came out
Yes.
back in the 80s. The blue one, there was a pinkish one, and then there's kind of an orange.
There was the pink one, yeah.
And the first one was the blue one. And
yes.
The first tune in that was Roddy McCorley. The second tune was, I think, The Foggy Dew. So you can see where this is going. But then we had, you flip over to page 2, and at the bottom on the right-hand side, the handiest tune in the book was Oroshi de Bahawalya. I didn't really like the tune, but I wanted to play something. So, and I loved the tune Roddy McCorley. I was like, without knowing the words. And then I found out the words. I was like, that's not such a joyous song at all. So, yeah.
That's why they wrote Sean South of Carry So, that's why they wrote Sean South of Carry On. They decided, we need something a bit more, there's
I presume you didn't start on the pipes, Brendan, when you were a young fella, did you?
No, I started on a G whistle, which is the second smallest whistle you can get. The smallest, I think, is the smallest we could
straw.
Get. There's a straw with a few holes in it.
Have you ever done that, by the way? Have you ever actually cut a hole in the top of the straw and then holes on the barrel of it? You can do it.
I didn't, but I did do something that I was very impressed with myself. Well, I just copied what my dad did, but I can't remember what the wood was, but we were out walking one day and he had a knife with him, cut off a piece of wood, cut off a headpiece, and then cut out 2 holes into it, and you had the whistle from Willy Wonka. Basically, you had that. But yeah, so I went home with this knowledge and nearly cut the hand of myself trying to make one, but I was very happy with my results. So that would be the first whistle.
So it was good for a first.
Yeah. But yeah, the first whistle would have been a G, which I still have in a box under the stairs somewhere. Yeah, a little G, and you could see all the teeth marks on it still from when the nerves.
Yeah, kids are awful for that, for biting the tops of whistles.
Oh, it tastes lovely.
No,
it doesn't. You get different flavours.
Yeah. Hey, there's an idea. That's what they should actually do is. What they should actually do is, the stuff you get to put in the children's nails so that they don't bite them. Yeah. They should coat the top of the whistle with that.
What was the one?
Stop eating the whistle.
I was thinking the other way. If you get flavoured ones like the push pops used to be out. Remember those?
Yeah, but then they'd want to play it all the time. That's actually that. I think there's. You know what? That could grow legs and walk a marathon, because that's.
Barry, will you write down
Mommy,
that idea? Good idea, number 10.
That's our first great idea. Well, it's your idea,
That's
Brendan.
the first one. Yeah.
Mm.
And at what stage then, Brendan, did you decide did you know starting out on the whistle that you wanted to play the pipes? Was that the plan, or did you just start on the whistle?
There was no plan. No, I really had a hankering for the fiddle. I don't know why. So I went to the fiddle then after that, and then my dad got a classical flute, which looked nice, but God, it was desperate for trad. And then he got a practice set of pipes, and I liked the sound of it. I didn't like the sound he was making from it, but I liked the sound of it.
Hold my beer.
Basically, because my parents' bedroom was right beside my bedroom, and I was like, oh dear God in heaven, what is that sound? Kind of went from there. No disrespect, Dad. Thanks. I wouldn't be playing the pipes only for you.
It's usually a parental thing, though, isn't it? The pipes. It's like, what can I give this child to really melt their head? I give them this bag and stick, and it looks real easy at the start, but then they'll start adding a load of fucking tails out the end of it. Oh God!
You're not getting a
It's
bellows.
gonna-
You
it's-
blow into it. You blow into it. Then you earn a bellows.
And if it doesn't work, you would use it for lighting the fire.
Folk waffle in the morning, folk waffle in the night. I love folk waffle 'cause it makes me feel alright.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to the first Folk Waffle interview. It is with Aidan Coyne, a musician and singer-songwriter who's released a solo album in the last year, but he's more famously known as the singer and guitar player with folk band Socks in the Frying Pan. And also we spent a bit of time together when we went to college. So you're very welcome to the show, Aidan.
Hello. Nice glass of wine now, ready for this.
Our first question for you is, where did music start for you? Was it in your family or where did you pick it up?
It stems from the family, basically. Like Irish trad was in the family from my granddad, Eamon Coyne, who's the fiddle player. He was in the Liverpool Ceilidh band. And then my dad, Mick Coyne, he plays the Uilleann Pipes. My uncles, Terry Coyne, plays the flute. And Eamon's junior, he's a fiddle player as well. So, yeah, I basically grew up in a household of just fantastic musicians, and I suppose I had to pick something up. I tried the fiddle for a while. I was brutal at that, and of course you had to play the whistle when you were in school. But finally, I kind of settled on the guitar, and I think I rebelled for a while. I was playing rock music, and then I slowly got into the folk kind of singer-songwriter thing, and that stemmed back to the trad. So yeah, I fell back into it. I fell back into what the family were doing.
So do you miss the other genres of music, or is it something you'd like to go back to at some stage?
That's one of my latest projects now is doing exactly that, because I've just been playing trad for so long. But yeah, like when I was young, my dad kind of got me in with some group of Kjols like Inishogue, so that kind of got me into knowing how big trad music can getting to the All Ireland and playing at some of these massive festivals, which was just a lot of crack as well as anything else, you know. Then on the opposite end, there was the youth centre, which in Ennis, County Clare, it just had this brilliant setup, so you could have bands nights and acoustic nights. So I was getting a mix of everything, and that's why I chose actually Dundalk to go for college, because it was the only course in Ireland that had music that covered all spectrums. So well, you were there.
It's true, yeah.
It covered the Irish side of things. It covered, we had elements of rock and classical and everything in between. We had ethnomusicology, and so it was a brilliant course and brilliant 4 years. And yeah, then we had our band, our 7-piece band called Sayer. It was an eye opener as well. Like, as you remember, like getting over to Malta and playing for the president of Malta, and then getting to Ars and Uachtaráin and playing for the president there. That kind of opened out a lot of doors in my mind to where music could take you, and how big it could actually get. I suppose after that, then I was on the session scene for quite a while in Ennis, honing my chops, and that's where I met the lads in Socks and Frying Pan, Shane and Faker Hayes. We decided to make an album, which was just to sell it in the sessions, really, and somehow it got into the hands of an agent who was interested in getting us over to America, and then it was the US was opened up to us. We've been touring 7 years there now.
How many albums has the Socks got to date?
The 4 albums now. So it's just self-titled Socks in the Frying Pan, and then we had the least selling album. We thought it was going to sell out the door. It's called Return of the Giant Sock Monsters from Outer Space, Without a Paddle for number 3, and then we had our live album, which is called Raw and Real, which took place in Glore, in our hometown, in the theatre in Glore, and that was a special gig for us. We've been working recently on developing the website and doing online stuff. So everything's been locked down. Obviously, we were over in New Mexico when everything kind of hit. So we were on tour over there in the States, and we had to try and find our way home or try and book some flights back. Then it's been kind of in lockdown. So I've been doing my own thing since. I mean, I had my own solo side of things going on as well. I had a solo album, which was my first one is just all kind of Irish songs and a couple of my own originals. And I was doing a bit of touring around Europe and in Germany with that. And then my most recent one, which is called Gaps Between Stars, that was all my own kind of more folk singer-songwriter side of things. So I put absolutely everything into that, and I basically saved for years trying to make that album, and I got the best people I could in on it, and went up to Dublin, recorded it in with some great engineers, and it came together. But then, of course, COVID hit, so I didn't get too much touring out of it. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get that up and going again at some stage.
And for Gaps Between the Stars, you worked with Chris O'Brien and Graham Murphy, isn't that right?
They just work so well as a team off each other. They both have computers open. Graham has the piano going to do some synth sounds and just get some ideas flowing. And I couldn't suggest them highly enough. Hopefully I'll get back to them at some stage.
Was it a protracted album, or did it take a long while to get it done, or what was the way you did it?
A good few months with it, because I really wanted to get it right. It was just something, it was kind of a project of love, I suppose. Something I wanted to do for so long. My first album, which was in the trad side of things, I wanted to kind of sell that, I suppose, at sessions, but I didn't have too many high expectations for it. But I really wanted to just get in with some great musicians and in a nice studio and do things right for the second one. Yeah. And I'm delighted with it. It's the best thing I've ever made. But as for sales, that's another thing. I don't regret it. I mean, the quality of what came out, the other musicians and backing vocalists and this and that, it was class project to work on, and yeah, no regrets.
Would you think about going down the vinyl route, which a lot of bands seem to be doing at the moment?
My shed at home is full of CDs. Shane and Faker also have a back room full of CDs. So, I mean, we have a lot to get through before. Yeah. I'll tell you a story actually about, I won't mention any names, but one of the socks ordered 2,000 CDs, for our European gigs. And they landed at my door, whatever, a month or two later. I opened the pallet, and they were the wrong CD ordered. So we already had 2,000 of the ones sitting in our room. So now we have 4,000 albums. It's unbelievable how many albums we have sitting in this shed of ours.
So you mentioned briefly there about touring in Europe and in America. So do you think that'll go ahead, or what's the story there?
America is not looking too promising. There's, as you know yourself, there's a big process kind of with visas. You have to get all sorted well in advance, like at least 5 months in advance kind of. And it's a big investment to kind of risk trying to go for the visas and not knowing about the vaccine, if we're going to be vaccinated or not. So we're kind of, that's been on hold. September is a possibility. One of our biggest festivals in Winfield, Kansas takes place in September. So we are hoping for that. But outside of that, it's not looking great. Then for Europe, that's a different story because you don't need visas. So we have our French promoter kind of really adamant to get us over. He's hoping for July, but it's not. I don't know. That might be really pushing it because you have to get your green cert at the moment, I think, and PCR tests and all this kind of stuff. It's just a bit of a risk. But September, it's looking likely with Germany, France, hopefully Kansas, and then we also have a bus tour coming over, 50 people coming over on a bus tour around County Clare with the Sox. Yeah, October is looking good for that, so that could be cool. Last summer, outside in Doolin Hotel, and the sessions were hopping. It was great, and obviously all social distance, but it was just good to actually get playing. And then I went and broke my arm. I went flying off my bike, and I was doing some off-road biking, and went over the handlebars and got a fracture in my elbows. The kind of positive that came out of that is I was locked up in what I call the Bat Cave, which is my one-room apartment. All I've been doing is my new courses and working on my own website. So the latest project I have now is a DADGAD course. So I've just been working this non-stop, and I'm putting videos up 3 times a week on YouTube, and then I have about 90 videos in the course itself.
I have seen some of these videos that Aidan is talking about that he's done, and they really are fantastic. Great introduction to Irish guitar, trad guitar. Yeah, really, really good.
Cheers. Well, I spent a stupid amount of money on my new camera and audio. It's like one of those things you just, I have no gigs, and I'm just going to burn my savings. There was no thought in it. I should have maybe pared back and just used my phone. But I did set up a little URL for any of your listeners if they want a free dadgad cheat sheet, which kind of walks you through the basics. So if you go to aodoncoin.com, so that's AODANCOYNE, and then /Folk Waffle.
I think we've really covered everything there, Aidan, in the interview. If there was one piece of advice you could give to a musician or an artist starting out, what would it be?
After the whole year that went by, I would say, like, as you know yourself, gigs kind of, they come in waves. You might have a mad summer of gigs, and then there's actually nothing for a month or two. So I think really focusing on finances and just getting your head sorted with finances is a massive thing. Like a book I can suggest, there's one by Ramit Sethi, which is called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It sounds like a ridiculous book, but it's actually very solid with the financial side of things and getting all your banks sorted and having certain amounts come in and out at the same time. So having that covered as a musician, I think, is very important. The other side of things would be like having your headspace, basically, and thinking that you can do it, I suppose, and getting that in place as well. So a lot of musicians some of them might have big heads already, so they might need that. But there's a few books I could recommend, like The Magic of Thinking Big. That's by David Schwartz, which has been pretty good for me. And getting the whole business side of things down. There's another one called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. So they'd be the three books I'd be suggesting for musicians. Like they're not music books, but they're good for the heads and the finance and the kind of getting the business together. So they'd be things I'd suggest.
That is a fantastic piece of advice, Aidan, and a lot of people need to hear that, I think. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, a little later on, we will give Aidan a grilling, but we're going to play a favourite song of ours from his most recent solo album, Gaps Between the Stars, and it's called Remember.
I had no fortune to make in advance. The friends that clung to you said, don't give them a chance. I had no time for false relations or false romance. As I turned away, I caught your second glance. The seas between us drained low. Two lonely dreamers waiting out. I offered you a light, but I ain't smoking now. When I breathe deeply, I breathe you in somehow. When I breathe deeply, I breathe you in somehow. And oh, 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 the dance remembered when worlds collide. Remember. And oh, 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 a dance remembered. And oh, those eyes remember. I was poor at leading, and questions crept, frightened deeply with every step. And then you smiled and told me to confess. With your hand in mine, fears were left to rest. I felt you breathing, time slow. The sounds have faded, left alone, and shadows in the distance I did not care to know. Could I have saved it by simply letting go? Could I have saved it by simply letting go? And oh, 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 a dance remembered when worlds collide. Remember. And oh, 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 a dance remembered. Oh, those eyes remember. dance, remember, when worlds collide, remember, and oh, 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 a dance, remember, and oh, those eyes, oh, those eyes, oh, those eyes, remember.
So, Barry, why did you pick the fiddle? Or did it pick you?
Why did I pick the fiddle? My parents took me to a fleadh. I don't know what age I was, 6, 7 years of age. And I stood on the street watching this elderly gentleman play the fiddle for, it seemed like an eternity when I was only a kid. But I was perplexed with this guy playing the fiddle. I just thought it was amazing.
You were looking at all the money he was making, music. Barry.
Yeah.
Like, was he good?
It was just remember the movement of it, the music he was making. I was just fascinated with the whole picture and the sound that came with it. And when I come back from that flat, apparently I was like a broken record to my parents. Can I get a fiddle? 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 So eventually, I got a fiddle, and that's where it all started.
Did you get a bow with it?
Yeah, I got a bow as well.
Barry, just that's one of my old chat up lines.
What did
go for it.
Oh, I'll say no more. And I broke my first fiddle. I remember I dropped my first fiddle. I remember dropping it, and I was terrified that I'd ruined my fiddle, and I decided to fix it myself. So I got super glue out, and the whole back of the fiddle had cracked, and I super glued it together. It was the worst thing you could have possibly have done.
And then you super glued it to your face.
Yes. And I still have it. It's up there in the attic. I must take a picture and send it to you.
I should bring it to the
still
next
super
rehearsal.
glued. It was great glued at.
You're still picking splinters out of your chin. Oh God!
And what age were you then, Barry?
When I broke my fiddle.
When you 10. Started it and broke it.
When I started, I think I started around 10 because Rose O'Connor was only taking kids at 10 years of age. My parents were trying to get me in earlier, but I think 10 was her sort of benchmark for age-wise for starting kids. So I think it was in around 10 I started.
When did you, or why did you pick the bouzouki?
Well, I'll tell you a story about the bouzouki and me. I was playing in a group of Kjol for Ring Uilleann, and I had started rooting about with a mandola that Tracy had. That's kind of where it came from, because I was trying to sort of back tunes on the mandola. You know, you see Andy Irvine playing Donal Lunny and you think, Jesus, I just want to do that. I remember thinking every session you went to, there was like 5 guitar players,
12 guitars,
and they're all playing something different, and
it's a headache.
And I mean, I never used to mind because I would kind of come in and out when I heard space in the tunes, or an opportunity. I said to Tracy, I'll try doing it on the mandola. I wanted to buy, because I had seen Andy Irvine and I'd seen Donal Lunny and Johnny Moynihan, and I just thought that'd be nice to do. So I started on the mandola, and then when I went over to the Ring Uilleann, I took the mandola with me. I was tipping along, but the guy that was playing guitar said to me, I have a bouzouki in the house, and it's a decent enough bouzouki. It was made by a fella called Jan Now I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Jan Meilert. He was living in Meath at the time. So he gave me the loan of it. I had it for ages. Oh, it seemed I had it a really long time. And then we did a bit of playing together ourselves, just myself and him, and another boy was, doing a bit of singing. I had seen another guy, is Rory Canaan, you call him. He's from Mullaban, and he's a phenomenally talented musician, And he was playing this bouzouki, but it was made by a guy called Alan Mayers in Antrim. And this fella had sort of apprenticed with George Loudon, but had gone out on his own and had decided he started making bouzouki's. So I did. I went up to Antrim, ordered a bouzouki, and I still have it. And that's a long-ish time ago. Would that be 8 years ago? Because I think I got that when I was playing with you guys the first time.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't
remember it, and you're very happy with it.
Oh, I was so happy with that bouzouki, and I still have it. I don't think I've changed the strings of it since then. Sure, why would you bother changing the strings? It was in tune, So that reminds me, I must actually change the strings on that yoke, and that'll be a first.
The shock it'll get.
I know. I might even clean it while I'm at it. Before we finish up, I'm going to put everyone on the spot. What's your favourite first album? Brendan.
My top favourite album, and it's for a couple of reasons, it's going to be a shock to you as well. It's Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. That's the reaction I was hoping for.
You know what? I wasn't
expecting that.
I was watching. There's a program on. There's a film on Gaia, the channel.
Yeah.
It comes free with Prime, and she's in it, and it's all about how she's not just sensitive, she's super sensitive. So,
well, can you see the correlation between me and her? Man.
I totally can.
No, I loved it because it was when we see 95, 97, and I think it was the first album that I ever got on CD. It was cheap at the time. It was a top, and then it was reduced and stuff like that, and I put it onto cassette so I could bring it around with me. And it reminds me of a time when I was in Spain for the first time. But I just loved the anger that was in those songs. For me, I just really liked it. And plus,
yeah, I mean, I would be really angry if there was 10,000 spoons and all I needed was a fork.
You get it. You understand. I'm glad. You love it too.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic?
The jury's still out. Oh, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Barry.
It's a tough one, Pierce. A tough one. I think I'd have to go for Unhalf Bricking by Fairport Convention, because it was probably one of the first records that I'd actually heard. It would have been in the house, and my dad would have bought it. In the old days, especially when you were only a kid, the old LPs were big story books that you'd open out, and wonderful artwork and photographs and everything. And I probably played that record out when I was a kid. So probably the first music that I'd been introduced to at a young age, and also I still listen to it to this day. I think it's brilliant. Sandy Denny's voice, a couple of tracks.
Sandy Denny,
Who Knows Where the Time Goes, and A Sailor's Life. They're just timeless classics in my mind. And that sort of Fairport sound then in around 1969, I think it was. It captures a moment in folk music. It captures a moment in time in England, really, and Britain in general. That is gone. I think those is gone. But it's a very romantic album for me for so many reasons. Plus all the wonderful music and singing that's on it as well.
What are you thinking?
Me?
Pierce.
Yeah.
This is not tough for me at all. It's 17 Seconds by The Cure, for a lot of different reasons. Mostly nostalgia.
It's a real
but
cheery album.
It is so cheery, he said, tongue firmly placed in cheek. It's far from cheery. It's like there's a hidden anger in there. And it has a forest on it, which is one of The Cure's best tunes. I remember when I was learning how to play the guitar, there's a song on there called In Your House. When you're just learning to play guitar and you decide, I want to play that song, and you sit down for weeks, have a listen to it, because it's insane. As somebody who's just kind of starting out on the guitar, has a few chords, to go and try and play In Your House. But I'd say one thing, it helped me develop, an ear for music that I don't think I would have had I just kept playing Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel.
I'm in a pretty good mood, so I might leave that for a while.
Well, it depends, I suppose, on what way you take it. It can enhance your mood if you are in a good mood, or it can just take you right down Chinatown. I really love it, and it wasn't a tough choice because, like I said, the nostalgia of it means a lot to me. But it was that or Disintegration by The Cure. They're probably my two.
You only allowed one. Jesus, I could come in with a second one.
I know, but I'm only saying it pips. It pips. It's like by a nose. It gets first. Easy choice. 17 seconds.
Folk waffle in the morning, folk waffle in the night. I love folk waffle 'cause it makes me feel alright.
Okay, so we've reached that part of the show where we're going to do some questions with our guest. And our guest today is Aidan Coyne, as we mentioned earlier. Barry, would you like to go through the categories of questions that we have?
Yeah, well, Aidan, we've a couple of really exciting categories of questions for you here this evening. We've A or B category, we've the true or false category, the yes or no, or personal experience.
What was the first one?
A or B?
Let's go for that one.
Whiskey or gin?
Oh, whiskey.
Okay, I'll go for the next one. So, A or B, true or false, yes or no, or personal experience, Aidan?
Oh, I'll go for personal experience, sure, why not?
Okay, top of the list. What is your favourite country to play in?
Oh, I'll have to say America.
And why is that?
My fiance is from America and she's sitting beside me.
Very good.
Yes or no?
Uilleann Pipes or accordion playing together?
Ooh, I'll have to go no.
I totally agree. Deadly. Okay.
With my dad and Shane Hayes there now.
Personal experience. Next question. What was your worst food that you've experienced on tour?
Oh, that's a tough one because I've had some terrible food. There was, okay. I was in France and we stopped at a McDonald's and it actually, everything that we could get, you'd think it'd be grand with a McDonald's, but we stopped in and I think they just cleaned the whole place recently, but the burgers, the Coke, the chips, they all tasted of like, what's that, like toilet
bleach
stuff or something like that? Yeah, bleach. It was truly disgusting. Like, I couldn't get over it. So yeah, I'd have to go with that one.
Personal experience, yes or no, true or false, A or B?
Yes or no?
Did you see Bigfoot when on tour in the US?
I did not, unfortunately. Although, Shane Hayes walking in the middle of the night. It's kind of like Bigfoot.
He is a big man.
Love it.
That's the accordion player for you.
Okay. Irby, true or false? Yes or no? Or personal
True or
experience?
false? I'm already getting in trouble with this interview.
Is the moon a space station? True or false?
I'm gonna go with false.
Correct.
Not yet. You know, we'll see what
Working on
Elon
it.
Musk can do about it.
Exactly.
Skinny jeans or flares?
Flares. Flares. I'll take flares.
I would too.
Fikra Hayes is the skinny jean person in the band. So, although after 3 months, come on, we're all skinny jean people. You know, it's just we start off in flares and then it just becomes skinny jeans over 3 months of eating burgers. I'm putting everyone under the bus.
No, you're not. There is no bus.
Go on for personal experience again. So,
Okay, what's the worst catastrophe that you've had on stage?
well, geez, there's so many. I suppose the most recent one, we were playing in Winfield, Kansas, and an amazing bluegrass festival. And my back, I have really bad back, so I have 2 herniated discs, and it just went on me before going on stage. So I was like a bit of a cripple on stage. Like I was really in a bad way. The lads had to stop the gig for a bit and call out to the audience and say, is there anyone that can help Adon at the moment because he's in a bad way? So I had so many people, so many nice people coming up, loads of physios and plenty of chiropractors and this, that, offering their services. And then there were also lots of people with weed coming up and trying to with lots of joints. So yeah, very, very, very great festival. But that was a tough one in the recent past. Yeah.
Yes or no? Can you make waffles?
Oh, I can't.
We had to ask for the folk waffle. We had to ask.
Oh, yes. No, I'll put it onto the must learn how to make waffles. Give me a griddle and I'll be able to make it.
Spaghetto is the singular word for a piece of spaghetti. True or false?
That has to be false, is it?
Barry, do you want to break it to him?
I'm sorry to say this. It's actually true. We had to
Really?
Google it. We had to Google it ourselves. Yeah, apparently it's true that generally Italian words ending in O are singular and words ending in the I are the plural. So lots of spaghetti.
Well, I tell
spaghetti.
you wouldn't hear that in West Clare.
You wouldn't hear it over and loud either.
Deadly.
A or B?
Ooh, A or B. Old Spice or Chanel?
I'll have to go with the Old Spice.
Yes.
2 choices I don't know much about. But A or B again?
Earbuds or over-ear headphones?
Over ear.
Cool.
I can't. I can only make one choice there.
Here's one last true or false Aidan. In Florida, it's illegal to pass wind in a public place after 6 p.m. on Thursdays. True or false?
I'm going to say false because, yeah, I'm not going to say why, but is it false?
It's true, Brendan, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's true.
It's completely true.
Is it?
Completely true. Yeah, there you go.
How would all of those old people?
Very useful
Keep that in.
life-changing trivia. Life-changing information.
From when you turn in Florida. Watch yourself, especially on Thursday. Let me see. I'm going to hit you with some.
Come on to Folk Waffle and you'll learn a lot, don't you?
Yeah, well, we try. Edutainment.
It's more than just waffle. Really.
We need a slogan. Google Maps or physical maps?
I'd love to say physical, but it's just Google. Yeah, I have
Candles.
physical maps, but it's just for, to look smart. On my bookshelf.
Incense or candles, Aidan?
Oh, I didn't hear that one. Candles. Gotta set the mood.
Yeah.
Set the mood.
Acoustic or electric?
Acoustic. Yes.
Mhm.
But in my youth, In my youth, it was electric.
You have only true or false questions left. You have 2.
Throw them at me.
Barry, go for it.
Coffee is made from berries. True or false?
Oh, yes.
Correct.
Recommendo.
I love this one.
That's another.
If you own any chickens in Quitman, Georgia, it is illegal to let them cross the road.
I'm going to say true. Why not?
Correct. Because you're meant to be looking after your own livestock. There you go. Yeah.
There was a reason for it.
That's it.
Mighty
Quick and
stuff,
painless.
mighty stuff, lads.
Well done, Aidan. Thanks very much for taking part.
Thank you, lads.
Thanks so much.
I look forward to seeing you on tour again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah,
Hopefully in the not too distant future.
Not too
for
distant.
sure.
So there we go, folks. I hope you enjoyed our little waffle. And it just remains for me to say goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
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 That was priceless.
That was brilliant.
Well
I was
done.
like, who's going to...
Folk waffle in the morning, folk waffle in the night. I like folk waffle cause it makes me feel alright. Sing it now. Folk waffle in the morning, folk waffle in the night. I like folk waffle cause it makes me feel alright.